Hello, my name is Caroline Young and I'm the Channel Training Apprenticeship Programs Manager. We thought we'd do a few video shorts for you to help you navigate the apprenticeship progress, and we are going to start off on this one on the use of OneFile as an employer. So OneFile is our online system that we use to communicate with you and learners, to set tasks, gather evidence for their learner portfolio, which is a prerequisite for their EPA. Lastly, we use OneFile for the 8 weekly tripartite reviews, which is really vital for all of us to keep a track of how our learners are getting on, target setting, planning their individual learning plan for future months. So we thought we'd give you a quick tour of the key features of OneFile, because that would be useful for you. So here goes. First off, so I'm going to share my screen so you can see how I would go about things as an employer. So there are a couple of ways you can get into OneFile. You can just put in OneFile login in order to, OneFile login. And go to the login page that way, and you will have your login details, which have already been sent to you. If you've lost them for any reason, do just get in touch and we can resend. So the next way that you could get onto OneFile, which is possibly quicker if you're in there already, is to go to the employer portal of Channel Training's website, and then there's a quick link to OneFile there. So you'll come up with this screen, which is the OneFile login page, and you will have your login details, as I said. So you are going to get to this screen, which has got your announcements on. So the announcements are little snippets of information that we put up. They change regularly. Things that might be useful to you or to your learners are going to come up on those announcements, which you can choose not to display again, or they will just come up. One of the first things we'd love you to do is, it's really important to do, is to go on to this top right corner. This is a spoof employer, so don't worry about what gets said on here, Charlie Coach. So if you click there and go to profile, the first thing you need to do is click on the email preferences tab and make sure that you have verified the email that you want OneFile emails to link to. So that's how you're going to get your information. So verify your email address, set up your email alerts. You can choose to have them come whenever something happens, or once a week, or on a Saturday, or whichever way you would like to set up your profile. Having set up that profile, other things that you might want to take a look at. So the envelope tab obviously is a messaging system. So we have got messages that come in here in the normal way that we use an email system. And if you wanted to send a message, you could click on new message, and the toolbar will choose whether it's a learner or an employer, etc. So in the normal way that an email system works. So that's the little envelope. The little clipboard symbol is a quick link to your tasks. So this particular employer, Charlie Coach, has got Charlotte Training's review to sign. So I'm going to do another session on reviews, because reviews are quite important and a key way that you need to get involved with this apprenticeship progress. So watch this space for another session there. Those quick links are also mirrored in this left-hand menu bar. So we've got tasks and messages. There's also a resources tab, and we've put all sorts of useful information there. Some of them are duplicated from the website, like the handbooks, but also there are key resources for the particular apprenticeship standard that your learner might be on. So then the next sensible place to go is home. If you can see here, we've got a blue word. Any blue word will take you somewhere else. So this is your home screen, and this is where you will probably go to first off. And you can see Charlie Coach's learners are listed here. So that's Charlotte Training and Ols Training. Charlotte Training is doing the outdoor activity instructor, and Ols Training is doing the outdoor learning specialist. The progress bars are showing you how they're getting on in the entirety of their program. So as you can see, Charlotte Training is quite a lot behind, whereas Ols Training is pretty much on target. Happy days. In terms of this target percentage bar, we're sort of looking at around 70% by the time they get to gateway. The 70% being that there's still 10% to do for the actual gateway meeting, and then 20% to finish off the apprenticeship altogether. So it should read around 70% by the time they get to gateway. We've got anticipated completion date. If you click on any of these words for the column headings, it will reorder your learners in order. So, for example, I now know that Ols Training's review date is imminent, hence in amber, whereas Charlotte Training has got another six weeks or so to go. They use lots of red, amber, green visuals on OneFile, so we can see that Charlotte Training is way behind because she's in red in terms of target deviation, whereas Ols Training is in amber because it's just a little bit behind. And lastly, on this summary table, we've got tasks that the learners have got to do, so we can see whether they've got lots of tasks that they haven't tackled or whether they're pretty much on it. So that's a little summary table. If you want to click on a precise learner and drill down a little bit more, so again, I can click on the blue name here of Charlotte. Let's go and see what's actually going on with her portfolio. So it gives you the learning aims for her activity instructor. She needs to have passed her level 2 functional skills, which she has, and we've got evidence for that, so that's all sorted. Then this is the 70% for the actual apprenticeship standard, the gateway, and then the actual assessment. So that's a little summary of the learning aims. The next sort of line, we've got our overall progress, and again, it's in blue, so if I click on that, it'll give you the breakdown of where that progress is coming from. If you ever want to go back, you can do the back arrow or go to Charlotte Training and we'll go back to that screen. Learner status is something that we attach to learners to flag up how people are getting on. Again, it's a red, amber, green situation. Charlotte, because she's quite behind, is on red, and red learners will tend to be on an action plan, which has been agreed between you and the tutor and the learner. Percentage of planned off-the-job training. So as we're all aware, off-the-job training has to be a minimum of 6 hours a week, which can be, doesn't have to be 6 hours a week. It can be front-loaded or back-loaded or whatever is suitable for you. We need this number to say around 65% by the time they get to gateway. The reason being, again, if we drill down, click the blue number, we can see here that the minimum off-the-job training hours for an outdoor activity instructor is 284, which is your 6 hours a week for their time on programme. However, the planned off-the-job training, we have calculated all of the things that we offer would take that learner up to 522 hours of off-the-job training, should they take all of those opportunities. Hence why we say around 65%, and we will have got a buffer to make sure we meet that minimum. And check that all of those off-the-job training hours are actually valid, as we need to do for the ESFA and the funding guidelines. And you can see the breakdown there of how those off-the-job training hours are being totaled up in which particular categories, be it a training course or theory questions or doing activity delivery, which they've written a learning journal entry to reflect on what they have learnt. So back to Charlotte Training's main page there. The next sort of tab along, we've got the last off-the-job training activity. So this is really important that we have a little look and see that they are regularly doing active learning. If that is over a month, over a calendar month, then we need to, that flags up issues for us, because again, that's ESFA funding rules that we have to have active learning at least every calendar month. A few more tabs that might be useful for you. We find that employers quite like this activity tab. Some employers give their learners time in their off the job. You know, they might have a day a week to go and do their OneFile apprenticeship standard work. And if you want to check that that is actually happening, if you go on the activity log, you can see the dates and the timestamps of what they were doing and how long they were doing it for. So doing a learning journal or doing a scorecard or whatever it was that Charlotte was up to. So that's quite useful. And the last thing that I'm going to show you is on this progress tab. So if we click on this progress tab and scorecard, So the scorecard is something that we ask the learners to do initially at induction, and it is going to give the learner's viewpoint and evaluation of how the learners feel they're getting on in each knowledge, skill and behaviour criteria of the standard. So we start off with our baseline, and Charlotte here thought she was starting the apprenticeship standard with a sort of knowledge average of 6 and a skills average of 5 and a behaviour average of 5. And then we want those learners to do those scorecards every sort of 8 weeks, preferably pre-review, so that we can get an idea of how they think they're progressing personally, and whether there are any gaps, and whether there's anything that we can help out with, or whether you as an employer could help out with. So if you want to drill down into that a little bit more, if you click on a scorecard and click on the criteria. So these are the knowledge criteria. So if you ever want to know the specifics of the standard as to what they've got to cover, those are all here. But it also gives you a clue. For example, Charlotte is not very confident at the moment on how to collate new information about participants. So is that something that we need to give her a bit of a training session on, either between ourselves or yourselves? And you can see how progress is going on each of those criteria. And again, if I go to home, I will go back to that front screen. So there are lots more functions on OneFile. It's a really powerful tracking tool. So do get familiar with it. If you have a little play around with it and then find that you've got more specific queries, just get in touch and we can help you out with that. Or join us in our question and answer open session webinars that we're holding through the year. We'd love to see you there. All right, thank you very much.